You love your hair, you've got the products, the routines, you're putting in the work, but your hair still isn't growing. Here's why. You know what most guys get wrong? It's not the products, it's not even the routine, it's the shower. You might wash your hair with warm water, which is good. You condition with warm water too, which is also good. Heat opens up your cuticles so moisture can actually get inside. But then what? You rinse out, you step out, you're done. That's actually a mistake. You see, when your cuticle is open, moisture can get in, but it can also still get out. You just spent 10 to 15 minutes conditioning your hair, and then you left the door wide open. All that moisture gone. It's evaporated the second you grab your towel. But here's how to fix it. You want to use cold water right at the end for 30 seconds or less. Cold water physically closes the hair cuticle. It seals everything inside and it locks in what you just spent all that time putting in. So you want to wash warm, condition warm, but rinse cool. That's it. Now that's an easy fix, but there's something you've probably doing every few weeks that's way more destructive, and it's erasing months of growth in under an hour. Protect styles, braids, twists, cornrows. You already know the deal. Keep them in for 4 to 6 weeks. Moisturize while they're in and let your hair rest between styles. That part works, but that's not the problem. The problem is what happens when you take them out. Here's what nobody really explains. We shed around 50 to 100 strands of hair every single day. That's normal. Everybody does. But when your hair is braided, those strands don't fall out. They actually stay trapped right at the roots. So over 6 weeks, we're talking thousands of shed hairs are literally just sitting there, tangled up with your new hair growth, building up into this matted layer called webbing. And here's where it goes wrong. Most guys take down their braids in like 20 minutes. They're tired of having them in, they just want it done. So they rush through it, hop in the shower and start detangling. That's honestly the worst thing you can actually do. This is because the second water hits that webbing, it locks up instantly, like the beginnings of dreadlocks, except you didn't want dreadlocks. So now you're pulling and ripping through those knots. Every snap is a hair strand you've just lost. And in that 20 minutes of takedown, a lot of that growth you've just had can actually go away. So here's what you actually want to do. First, never take down your protective style when you're tired or impatient, because rushing through is what causes damage. You want to start from the ends, not the roots, and work your way up slowly. When you hit a tangle, don't yank or go crazy. Just pull single strands up and out, one at a time if you have to. And before water touches your head, you need some form of slip. So use a conditioner mix of water, it works so well. In fact, flaxseed gel also works, just anything that's slippery, and coats each section until it feels slimy. You want to finger detangle before you even think about using a comb. That's where you're breaking up all of that webbing. Then twist each section after you detangle, otherwise it's just going to retangle while you're working on the next part. A proper takedown takes 2 to 3 hours, not 20 minutes. But here's how you know if you're doing any damage. If you have hair that falls out with a little white bulb at the end, that's fine because that's natural hair shedding. That hair was already done. But if there's short pieces with no bulb, that's breakage. It snapped, and that was hair that wasn't ready to go. So if you're seeing a lot of short pieces after takedown, you're not shedding, you're actually ripping out your hair. Alright, so that's the technique explained. But let me ask you something. What products are you using right now? Because some of the stuff marketed specifically to us men of color, it's actually working against our hair. You've probably heard me say you need to use sulfate-free products, and honestly that's real advice because sulfates strip us from our natural oils. But sulfates are just one ingredient. There's a whole list of stuff hiding in products that us black guys are using, and these companies know exactly what they're doing and are trying to cut costs. These ingredients are cheap, that's why they use them. They make your hair feel good for like an hour where it looks smooth, shiny and soft, but over time you're building up damage that you just can't see. And what's messed up is that you think you need more of their product, so you keep on buying and they keep profiting and your hair keeps struggling. You don't actually need more product, you just need different products, the right ones. Here's what you want to do. You want to flip your bottle over and make sure you avoid these ingredients. I call them MSAPD. M is mineral oil. This coats your hair strand, blocks moisture from getting in, and it makes the hair feel slick, but it's actually being suffocated. S is sulfates. I've already covered that. This strips everything. A is alcohols. These are the bad type because they dry your hair out instantly. P is for parabens. These are preservatives, and if your scalp stays itchy no matter what you try, it might be because of these. And finally, D is dimethicone. It's a silicone and it makes your hair feel smooth while creating product buildup underneath. It blocks everything from getting through to your scalp. So here's what to do. The next time you're around your products, look at the ingredients ingredients list. If any of these show up in the first 5 ingredients, then you immediately know this product isn't good. It doesn't matter what the branding or the label says, the ingredients holds the truth. Now, there's one thing I need to also address, and this is for a specific group of guys. If you're someone who works out regularly, you need to know something. There's actually a problem you're dealing with that most hair advice completely ignores. Working out is good that you're disciplined with your body and you're training multiple times a week, but that sweat that sits in your scalp after every session, it actually works against your hair. Sweat is salty, and salt dries out your hair, which causes breakage over time. But here's also the dilemma. You can't shampoo and wash your hair every single day because it strips you from your natural oils and it will just make the problem worse. So what do you do? This is something that literally I was struggling with for so long, but here's the answer. You need to use a co-wash. After your workout, don't use any shampoo. Just rinse with water and use conditioner only. That's what a co-wash is. It cleans the sweat out, gets rid of the salt, but it doesn't strip your oils like shampoo does. Save the actual shampoo for once every 1 to 2 weeks. And at a minimum, if you can't get a co-wash, at least rinse your scalp with water after you train. Don't let that salt just sit there overnight because that's when the damage begins. Alright, so now let me talk about something that's a little different. This next part might not apply to everyone, but for some of you, this is the most important thing I'm going to say in this whole video. Some of you have accepted that your hair doesn't have a curl pattern. You might just say, yeah, I'm a 4C, that's it, that's what it is. So you've been using heavy products for years, butters, thick creams, trying to force moisture into hair that feels like it's rejecting everything. But what if the hair type you thought you were isn't the actual hair type you actually are? Here's what's been happening. All the silicones has been building up in your hair, any heavy oils also build up, and products that never fully wash out create multiple layers on your hair strand, leading to weird white marks everywhere. And over months, even years, it coats your hair like plastic wrap. So your actual true natural curl pattern that's underneath it all, it's trying to form, but it just can't breathe because you've been treating your hair completely wrong. But now here's how you can test it. You need to use a clarifying shampoo. I've linked below the ones that I recommend using. These are the type that strip everything and they include proper ingredients. Once you use it, just let your hair dry completely with 0 products and then look at your hair pattern. Some guys who thought they were 4C hair actually discovered they might have actually had 4A spirals hiding underneath some of that buildup. And because of that, they've actually been using the wrong hair care routine for a long time. So if your current approach isn't working, it might not actually just be your technique, but it might be that you're treating your hair completely wrong. In fact, that's why I made a full hair care guide. So make sure to grab it and check it out after subscribing to Glowup Guy. Alright, now everything I've talked about today, you can fix at home. Technique, products, routine adjustments. But I gotta be honest, sometimes it's not actually about any of this. Sometimes something else is going on. For example, if you've been consistent with your hair care for 3 or so months, you've been using good products, good technique, and nothing's changing, but your hair is getting worse, it might be time to actually stop buying products and see a professional. First is something called traction alopecia. If you've worn tight hairstyles for years like braids or cornrows and you notice your hairline is receding, if you have any bumps after you get your hair done or headaches from how tight any of these protective styles have been, that's not normal. That's your hair follicles getting damaged from repeated pulling. You need to catch it early so that you can actually reverse this. So I recommend stopping getting any protective styles, let it recover, and see a dermatologist if you can. Because if you wait too long, your hair follicles might scar and it might become permanent hair loss. Now, there's another form of alopecia called alopecia areata. This one's different. It's smooth, round bald patches that just appear out of nowhere, as if someone took a coin and pressed it onto your scalp. There's no redness or irritation and your skin looks completely normal. You're just bald. Now, this type of alopecia is actually autoimmune. It's your body attacking your own hair follicles. Products can't fix this, so you need to see a specialist. Next, the scalp psoriasis. This one you might have heard of already, but a lot of people mistaken this for regular dandruff. Dandruff is small white flakes, and there's not a lot of inflammation that happens with it, and it usually clears up with dandruff shampoo for a few weeks. But psoriasis is different. It's thick, silvery scales, raised patches, and it sometimes looks purple on our darker skin. It might spread to your ears, your forehead, and can actually crack and bleed. So if you've been using dandruff shampoo for weeks months and weeks and nothing's improving, again, I recommend seeing a specialist. Bottom line is, if you've done everything right for 3 months and you're still struggling with your hair, or if you're seeing bald patches or inflammation that just won't leave, or if you have any kind of pain, stop experimenting, see a healthcare professional. Everything I mentioned is linked down below, so make sure to grab it and check it out after subscribing to Glowup Guy. Let's keep glowing up.